2024 regularly scheduled board meeting. I would also like to start the meeting off by introducing our new member. As perhaps those of you watching know that Mr. Brill did resign in November, and the county commissioners have appointed Sadie Lillard as our new member, and we certainly welcome Sadie. She's been involved in the school system for many, many years and involved with many things throughout the county, so I'm sure she'll be a very valuable asset. So congratulations and welcome. Our first order of business is to, and also I want to go back and say that we did have Sadie sworn in by Mr. Benninger early this morning, I think, actually before noon, and there is a record of that. But she has been sworn in. Typically, we do that as the first thing at the January meeting, but we thought because of the weather and the apprehension of traveling tonight that it might be better to do that early. So Mr. Benninger did do that for us. We appreciate him doing it, and she is a bona fide member. With that being said, our first order of business in public session is the election of officers for 2024. As president, I will vacate the seat and turn over the meeting to the superintendent of schools.
Who doesn't even... The superintendent of schools is looking for her agenda so that she can do this. Thank you very much. So we will now hold the election of board officers. I will first of all ask for nominations for president.
I nominate Tom Woods.
Second.
We have a first and a second for the nomination of Tom Woods as president of the Garrett County Board of Education. Is there any discussion regarding the nomination? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of Mr. Woods as president of the Garrett County Board of Education, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously, Mr. Woods, thank you for continuing to serve as the president for the Board of Education, and I now turn the meeting back to you.
Thank you, and thank you, fellow members. As we've discussed many times, I'm the retired guy, so the retired guy should be the guy that carries more of the load. So I do appreciate it, and hopefully we'll have a great year, and I'm sure we will. I will now open the nominations for vice president for the 2024 school year.
I'd like to nominate Rodney Gladfeldy.
Mr. Gladfeldy has been nominated.
Second.
It has been seconded. Are there any other nominations for vice president? Hearing none, all those in favor of Rodney Gladfeldy as vice president for 2024 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And Mr. Gladfeldy will be our vice president as well. The board will now go into executive session, return to public session at approximately 6 p.m. Under Section 3-305B of the General Provisions Article of the Maryland Annotated Code, there is one reason the board will go into closed session this evening: to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, and performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Specifically, the topics for tonight will be 3-305B1. Topics include professional leave requests, superintendent goals, update, and superintendent contract. The reason these topics will be discussed in closed session instead of open session is follows. Personnel topics pursuant to 3-305B1 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because they include a discussion of specific employees, which is a confidential employment matter. Hearing all of that, is there any objection by a board member of going into executive session? Not hearing any. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
So moved by Rodney,
Second.
seconded by Josh. Discussion? All those in favor of going into executive session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And we are now in executive session. Evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the January the 9th, 2024, first regularly scheduled board meeting of the new year. Certainly here in Garrett County, we're having snow and wind and sleet and just about anything else that can happen today. So we're glad that we were able to get our board meeting in, even though the weather's pretty bad. Our student board member did not come tonight. We certainly have advised her to stay off the highway as well. So we will have our Pledge of Allegiance and our moment of silence without her lead, and I'll take that lead for us. So if you would please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First order of business is to approve the agenda, so I'll take a motion as such.
So moved.
So moved by Jason,
Second.
seconded by Josh. The approval of the agenda, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And that is approved. Also take a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Jason,
Second.
seconded by Josh. All those in favor of the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The consent agenda is approved. Closed session summaries and announcements are, as we have been doing the past few months, are on the website. You can certainly see all of those at your leisure. We were going to do some recognitions tonight, but because of the weather, some have been postponed to February, and we'll try to get those in February. But we do have one recognition, School Board Appreciation Month, January of 2024. Dr. McCartney will make that.
Well, and sorry, green light. What I would like to do is to ask Commissioner Edwards to speak on behalf of the citizens of Garrett County regarding the importance of the school board and your leadership. So, Commissioner Edwards?
Green light. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and a privilege to be here this evening to share our gratitude on behalf of the citizenry of Garrett County for your sacrifices on behalf of our children. As Sadie and I were joking earlier, and Jason, it's an ebb and a flow to how fun this job is for you guys, and I think most people understand that. It's a thankless job many times when you're dealing with people's children and making decisions that affect people's children, which people care about more than anything else in the world. You're going to get passionate feedback on what those decisions are. Sometimes that's very good. A lot of times, sometimes people differ with the opinions that are made, and decisions are made based on a lot of factors, many of them financial, unfortunately, many times. But it's nice that we have people willing to serve. It's nice that we have competent people willing to serve and people that care. Looking at the makeup of the board, we have former educators, we have people with children, people with grandchildren in the system, people that have had children go through the system. You're all connected in some way, shape, or form, so you all care about the decisions that are made, and I think that's very important for people to understand. With that being said, I am pleased to be able to offer this proclamation for School Board Recognition Month of January 2024. Whereas the education of our children is vital to the future of Garrett County, and whereas the mission of Garrett County Public Schools is to meet the educational needs of all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society and an ever-changing world. And whereas local school board members are elected by their community members to do what's best for students, and whereas local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students, and whereas local school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system, And whereas school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public expectations of the district, now therefore we, the Garrett County Commissioners, do hereby declare our appreciation to the members of the Garrett County Board of Education and proclaim January 2024 as School Board Recognition Month, and urge all citizens to join us in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local school board members and in working with them to mold an education system that meets the needs of both today's and tomorrow's children. Signed by Commissioner Savage, Tichenal, and myself. And I would be remiss if I did not add, if you follow politics in Maryland, the way that systems are set up and the dynamics between the commissioners and the school boards oftentimes lead to confrontational relationship. And that seems to be consistent throughout the 23 counties in Baltimore City. Although I do think, and I hope you agree, I think we've had a very good working relationship, even as board members have shifted over the time that, particularly Larry and I, because we've been together the longest, and now Ryan have been commissioners, Jim before that. I think we've had a very productive and a very respectful and friendly relationship. I expect that to continue. I think it will. I have no reason to believe otherwise. You guys have been really good to work with. And we have faced some very challenging times together. And I think we've worked very well together to meet those challenges. And although they haven't been easy, we've done it. So I thank you for that as well. So, thank you.
It's over here, so my head's not in the thing, Mr.
Okay, under continuing business, Dr. Miller will bring us up to date on the blueprint for Maryland's future.
Okay, thank you. So we have been briefing the board for the last several months on where we're at with the blueprint as far as certain implementation strategies. As you all know, we talked about career counseling, we've looked at our early childhood programs, and we've done some highlights. Tonight, we're really going to focus on some of the other work that's taken place in the county as we continue planning forward with the blueprint. So it's very hard to see on the screen. I didn't realize it was going to be that hard to see, but on the screen, you'll see a little bit of information about our structure and some background information. The link that's in blue is a live link. It is the 2024 Blueprint Implementation Guidance document that we received from the AIB. The draft went out last December, as in about a month ago, and it was approved by the AIB December 14th. It is significantly different than the last implementation guidance plan that we were given last year around the same time, but in a lot of good ways. I do feel like the AIB has listened to a lot of feedback across the state. They have really tried to streamline some of the work to allow us to share our story, share our progresses, share our challenges. So that is helpful. Over the last couple months, we have been working through the process of identifying a strategic facilitator through the AIB Technical Assistance Grant. We have done that. Her name is Molly DePasquale, and we've been working with her for the last several months, mainly November and December, which has been a very good experience so far. Some of the things that we've been working on have included getting a project plan together for that work. That is part of the grant process, but also launching our executive committee. We have had 3 executive blueprint committees at this point as of today, and we also have launched our Pillar 1 Early Childhood Committee work group, and our Pillar 2 advisory group will be launching our work group tomorrow. Pillar 2 is on elevating the teacher profession, and part of Pillar 2 is the career ladder. And so that's where our focus is with those work groups. We have been very thoughtful and reflective about the committee makeup for all of those committees, and for also our Pillar 3, 4, and 5. We're working on that, but that's just work that's coming a little bit later. We really wanted to identify any blind spots in our committee makeup to make sure that we were really fully representative of all of our stakeholders. For our executive committee, we did add several representatives to that committee. One being our health officer, Mr. Stevens, another being Chris Smollett, who's the new president of Community Action. We already had Dr. Midcup on that committee, as well as Kevin Knoll with the county government. So we feel like we've expanded some of our key partnerships with that committee. So we're happy with the progress there. So the Executive Blueprint Committee has been working on selecting the main priorities for the work plan with the strategic facilitator. These priorities are not the only work that's going to need to be done with the blueprint, but there are key areas that we want to focus on as we develop the next round of the implementation plan. And the 3 areas that we're going to focus on with our strategic facilitator in particular is plan coherence, which is really looking at the big picture of the blueprint, what the goals are of the blueprint, and looking cross-pillar. It also does include a really strong communication and engagement plan, and that's one of the areas that we're going to be focusing on. Pillar 1, we have highlighted and lifted that up as an area that we wanted to focus on, largely looking at our 3-year-old populations. We are ahead of the state in many ways with our early childhood programs and our 0 to 5 programs, but there's still room to grow. There's still things that we can do to help support ensuring that all of our children in our county are in highly qualified early learning settings. And so that was something we wanted to elevate. And of course, probably arguably the biggest lift that we will be tackling in the next 1 to 2 years is the career ladder, which is in Pillar 2. And so that is one that we have elevated. We have redesigned those work groups and advisory groups under the Pillar 2 steering committee as well, really looking at broadening the stakeholder representation. And we also are looking, there's a lot of different work that lands under the career ladder, but we are focused on 3 main areas, one being use of time, how we're using our time within the school day and our structures, also our roles and responsibilities for the different areas of the career ladder, and professional learning because of that job embedded professional learning. So we have some buckets of work that we're having folks work through. By no means is that the only work that needs to happen, but that's where our focuses are. And then we also wanted to, as an executive blueprint committee, ground some of our work across all of our pillars, looking at some very common things within each pillar. And the areas that we really wanted to take a look at across all pillars is really diagnosing our needs, regardless of what pillar we're talking about. We're doing a lot of landscape analysis, looking at all of the data related to particular pillars and where we're at. Also establishing systems and structures. That could be for communication, it could be for committee work, even things like focus groups, which would fall under the collaborating meaningfully. We really have lifted up collaboration and partnerships as essential to us moving forward in the blueprint. So obviously you see those two as some significant areas. Deepening partnerships, we know our partner organizations throughout the county are essential for us to be able to meet the needs of all of our students. So moving forward, you heard a lot today about coherence, pillar 1, pillar 2. As of today's executive meeting, our other pillar structures, our steering committees for those pillars, they will be launching between now and February. And we feel good about that timeline. We'll be able to get what we need to get done. And if you look at these dates, it'll help clarify why we prioritized some of the work the way we did, but also kind of give you an idea of how the work is being chunked across the state. So on the screen, you'll see various phased timeline for chunks of the work that we need to complete. The very first one is the literacy plan. Ms. Moss has been working in Pillar 3 with that for some time. We did just recently get more clear guidance on exactly what needs to be involved in that. And this first submission is truly just a draft. We will continue to be getting feedback on that. The state is intending to send expert literacy teams to every county in the state to help support the development of that. So that's the first date that we have. But this March 15th due date is definitely central to the work of the executive committee, which is why we started with that group. A lot of the work that we're doing in this executive committee will help us be able to submit a strong plan on March 15th. It's just a small portion of the plan. It can't be more than 10 pages long. May 1st is going to be a big chunk. That's the rest of the pillars. Pillar 1 through 5 will have a submission at that point. And then you can see as we go through the, even into next fiscal year, our career ladder initial plan is due July 1. That's a biggie. That's one that we're really keeping an eye on. We do know, as of right now, the guidance is that the first submission for the career ladder is levels 1 through 3, which basically takes you up through the NBC certification. That was a relief for us, knowing that we could phase that in a couple years worth of work. So we only have to put level 4 in if it's applicable. And I mean, jury's out on where we'll get as far as our career development, but I suspect we will be submitting levels 1 through 3 in this initial plan, and then taking next year to really hone in on level 4 and develop that out very thoughtfully. And you can see next year doesn't have as many submissions, so it does allow the time to be able to do that. You'll also see there's a math comprehensive plan that is also going to need to be drafted. That the first one on September 16th, again, is a draft, and then the final version isn't due until June of 2025. So that does allow us some time to build some things out. So that is the quick 101 on where we are at with Blueprint. I'd be glad to entertain any questions to the best of my ability.
Questions by any board members about the work that Dr. Miller and her executive committee has thus far done?
I don't have a question, but if I may.
Oh, yeah. You go right ahead.
As board members are thinking about questions that they might have, I just want to compliment Dr. Miller for her work on the blueprint and guiding us as a school system to meet the opportunities and requirements that are before us. We all see much positive in what the blueprint is offering for our students. My major concern at this point is the amount of time it takes for staff to respond to the blueprint demands for input But overall, it is very helpful, I believe, in moving our system forward, and I appreciate that. The work of Dr. Miller and others on the staff. So thank you.
Thank you.
Certainly let me echo that on behalf of the board as well, Dr. Miller. We know that you've put a lot of time into this because we've been watching it for the last couple of years, and of course the people that work with you. But it's one thing. Sometimes the hardest job is to get everybody else to do their job. Sometimes it's easier to do it yourself. But it has been a lot of work. We're very appreciative of all the work. Delegate and trust. Yeah, but you got to verify sooner or later. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the student board member report, and our student member Haley is not here tonight. Certainly she should not be on a night like tonight, but she did provide a report and asked me to read it for her. Under GCASC business, on December 8th, the GCASC held their second General Assembly of the year with 2 workshops and a discussion on school unity. As a follow-up to the discussion, each student council is doing a kindness project this month. They are planning a Spirit Night fundraiser at both Dairy Queen and Green Turtle, and the executive board will meet next week to begin planning their February General Assembly. Under general student updates, Northern Student Council ran a Christmas Spirit Week, also produced and released a video on vaping facts and their health impacts. Northern High hosted an alumni panel to talk to students about college and career pathways. Southern High Student Council ran their annual Christmas lights display with proceeds going to different clubs each weekend and support the Christmas presents for 7 families. Southern Middle School's 4 Club distributed kindness candy canes for the holidays. The inaugural Garrett County Elementary Bocce Tournament was held in December, and Northern Middle 6th and 7th grade attended the Narnia play at WVU's theater department on December the 15th. So those are the December activities that our student councils and our students in Garrett County participated in. And Haley, if you're watching, thank you for giving us the update, and hopefully the weather will turn and we'll see you here in February. Board member updates. The first update I'll give, we did have an election of board officers, and as you can probably surmise, I am the president again this coming year, and as you can further surmise, my running mate, Mr. Glotfeldy, is the vice president of our board. So again, we're both appreciative of the confidence that you have in us, and we'll do our very best to do the work of the kids of this county. So with that being said, are there other board member updates?
Yeah, I got to attend the Unified Bocce tournament that was held in the county. I think Dr. Magnus and their staff need to be commended for the job they did, providing a space for those kids to compete, and I think it went very well. It was fun to watch. It was just a neat thing for those kids to experience, and I think everybody should experience that.
Well, as you know, I'm vice president of the NABES Legislative Committee, and there's a lot of activity going on in the next couple months, including a legislative evening meal with legislators on, I think, February 2nd. And there's a visit, the Legislators Day I'll need to go to. So if anybody has any input or wants me to stress anything while I'm down there, please let me know. I'll try to get you more information on that as it gets nearer. Okay.
Thank you, Rodney. Anything else? I would use the opportunity again to introduce our new board member. We did that at the beginning of the day at 4 o'clock, but Sadie Liller is our new board member. It's appointed by the commissioners to fulfill the slot. Actually, it was Dr. Paul's originally. Then Mr. Brill was in it for a short time, and now Sadie is there. And certainly, as I said earlier, she's very familiar with our system. She had children that's gone through the system, and she works very much with various aspects of education throughout Garrett County. So thank you for being a member. We hope that you enjoy it. We hope you don't regret it. we hope that you complete your years in saying, I really enjoyed doing that. So, thank you.
I'm up for the challenge.
I'm sure you'll do great, no problem. We do need a couple of action items. First one being a meeting date and time. I will take a motion as such.
I make a motion that we have our meetings on the second Tuesday of the month with executive starting at 4 o'clock unless needed earlier and public session starting at 6.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor with a second that our future meetings will be on the second Tuesday of the month, beginning at 4 with an opening of public session to be followed immediately by executive session. We have taken a position, I'll add to that, we've taken a position of trying to alternate between the northern and southern ends. Tonight we are at Northern Middle, and next week, or next month rather, we would be at Dennett Road as a part of that initiative of trying to be throughout the county a little more. So with that being said, there is a motion on the floor. Is there discussion? Hearing none. The motion is the second Tuesday of the month, 4 o'clock, alternating sites between the northern and southern end of the county. Okay, so you're right. Can you restate the motion, please?
Yeah, so I'll amend my motion. Is that all right, Brandon? And then Josh can second that, maybe. So I'll amend my motion to include that we'll be alternating sites between the northern and southern end.
Second.
We now have a motion with the amended site added to it. Those in favor of the motion as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And the motion does carry. Our next item of action is legal counsel. I'll take a motion from a board member as to selection of legal counsel for 2024.
I make a motion that we have Brandon Hoover continue to serve as the board attorney for 24.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jason, second by Rodney, that we engage with Mr. Brandon Hoover as our board attorney. Though the motion is on the floor and there is a second, is there discussion? Hearing none, motion to accept Mr. Brandon Hoover as our board attorney for 2024, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And Mr. Hoover will be our board attorney. Anything you want to say?
I just want to thank you all. Thank you all for your confidence in me. As I tell you every year, I'm a 2001 graduate of Northern High School, and it's really an honor to get to be here serving as your counsel. So thank you.
Okay, committee assignments in your folders. There are some blank assignments. If it's something that you do have an interest in, please let Karen know, and she will in turn let Mabe know what those assignments are going to be. Some are already filled in, but if there's anybody who wants to change things or add to what they're doing, please let us know as soon as possible.
Some of those committees are pretty minor, 1 or 2 meetings a year. So, if anybody wants to, and usually they'll do them online. So if you want to sign up for any of them, it's a lot of vacancies there.
Yeah, a couple
So
of those.
it's good to Garrett County's represented on some of those committees.
A couple, 3 of those that I've served on have been virtual, and they only meet once or twice a year, and they're pretty quick. Usually don't take a lot of your time. We do want to have a discussion a little bit about our school calendar for 24-25. We thought it would be important to give some guidance to the school calendar committee this year in terms of what the board may prefer that they work on rather than working on 2 calendars. Is there a preference that the board has with regards specifically to either pre-Labor Day or post-Labor Day start? So with that being said, I'll open up the floor for discussion concerning our school calendar for 24-25.
Sure,
Yes, Jason.
I'll start if that's all right. Yeah, so as I reviewed this and was kind of thinking about the impacts to our school system with Blueprint and a few other things, I support a post-Labor Day start, and I think there's a few reasons for that. Although it's not our entire student population, as we move to more dual enrollment, or we look at Bobcat Academy with Frostburg State and a few of the other schools, most of them start after Labor Day, so I think it aligns as far as the schedules are concerned. Also, as I've talked to many parents and are a parent myself, starting before Labor Day and kind of getting that short weekend prior to the Labor Day weekend, getting a 3-day break and then starting back up again, it's usually more of a disruption to the schedule, whether it be summer plans or for the student themselves. So for those reasons, I support the post Labor Day start.
Other ideas, concerns?
I'm also in favor of a post-Labor Day start because for the same reasons Jason pointed out, but also it's to me that's one of the busiest holidays of the year for Garrett County. Vacations, people are coming here, although not as many because a lot of school systems do open, but before Labor Day. But certainly the population that doesn't have children are up here and they're going to our restaurants, recreating and that type of thing. And a lot of the businesses actually depend on some of those students to work. So I think giving them one more week to be able to work and make a little money in the summer is a good idea. Plus it helps our businesses.
Thank you, Ronnie. Josh?
Yeah, I'm in favor of a pre-Labor Day start, just to get the kids back into the groove of school, and then also for the possibility of snow days extending into June further, give us a couple extra days at the end of the year, possibly. And I'm also in favor of Veterans Day off.
I know Dr. Wilson is taking some notes back there to pass on to the committee. That's it. The committee will be meeting here in a couple of weeks. Sadie, do you have any thoughts?
I feel that I am for the post start. I understand the pre-start with the winters that we used to have, but I still support, for the reasons that Rodney and Jason said, the post Labor Day start, because several parents have said to me, it didn't make sense for them to go to school for 1 or 2 days and then have a couple of days off. So.
Okay, thank you. It would appear the consensus is a post-Labor Day start. Therefore, I don't know that we need a motion of such. I think we were just trying to get a consensus how everybody felt so that the committee could have some guidance. So, Dr. Wilderson, I think it's safe to say that the committee should work on a post-Labor Day start and bring back to the board what their ideas are on PLC days, different days off that there might be. Okay. Okay, thank you. It is 7 o'clock and we do not have any public comment. So therefore we'll move right on to the superintendent's updates, and that will end tonight's meeting.
And I will be very short. My update has to do with the calendar also, but it is this current year's calendar. We have had one traditional snow day thus far, and we have already put out notification on our website that means that now our final day of school, as currently scheduled, is June the 10th. I just want parents, community, and school board to be aware, as we are having interesting winter weather this year, that it may be at the February board meeting that I will present to the board a plan to use some of our spring break days as makeup days as needed. I'm focused right now on the possibility of the Thursday of spring break and the Tuesday after spring break, trying to hold on to some of those days off. But just be aware, more to come on that. Hopefully the weather will begin cooperating with us a little bit more. I would also like to thank everyone for adjusting their schedules to meet the needs of the school system and our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent McCartney. Any other items? We'll go to the calls. Hearing now, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Jason. Seconded by Josh. All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. And we are